Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Wrap Up Live. We've got the whole crew on tonight. Myself, Oren Weisfeld, Aiden Moss, Kyle Brickman. We're all here tonight to diagnose the latest game that the Raptors just played against the Sacramento Kings. And that game ended 124 to 101. That brought the Raptors record to 13 and 14 on the season. Guys, this was one hell of a game. It was fun. It was a bit crazy at times. It felt like a scrimmage run at times. The effort really wasn't there all game from the Kings. And this makes it, I think this is the second game the Raptors have played now against the Kings, and both have been blowouts. So what did we all think about the game? Oren, I'll start with you. What stuck out to you?
I'm just going to share my screen real quick so that we know what's going on with the Delano Banton Malachi Flynn thing, because basically Blake is tweeting that he wasn't feeling well, so that's why Flynn got the start in the second half, just to clear things up for everyone who was confused. Yeah, but I mean, I think it's the Kings and they suck. Like, they suck so bad. First of all, a Metu Len front court. I wanted to throw up before the game. Second of all, it's just like, hey, do a little scouting report. You can't turn it over against the Raptors. If you do, you gotta get back. It's a pretty simple team to scout for in that regard. So the Kings are embarrassing, but I still want to give a lot of praise for the Raptors, because as I was saying in the chat, I still think a lot of people are underestimating the Raptors due to injuries and all these things. And I think they're a really decent to good team. And it shows when you slap up a bad team that you're not in the same playing field as the Kings. And the Kings are battling for a playoffs play-in spot in the West. So it's not like the Kings are the garbage of the league right now. And the Raptors, were clearly in a different tier than them. So I gotta be positive for our Raptors. I thought they played really, really well today.
Aiden, what do you think about the game?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because it's not really all that surprising. It's we're not good in the half court. We're sick in transition.
Yeah.
A team that's sloppy with the ball, we're going to run it down their throats. And our team really thrives off of the psychology of seeing a bucket go in, or the ferocity of Barnes. It's you could just see the momentum building and the confidence oozing out of everybody. Malachi comes in cold, and all of a sudden, he's like Jason Kidd or something. I don't know, and so it's to Oren's point, I talked about this last time on the pod. I feel like sometimes I'm gaslighting myself. I'm convinced this team's good, and then you see them do shit against Oklahoma or New York, and you're like, what is wrong with this team? And then you see it all come together in a game like this, and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. I am kind of sane. Maybe I'm a little bit insane, but not fully yet. And I think with any team over the course of a season, it's not a linear growth. It's zigzag and up, down, all around.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is health for us, but a big part of that is just gelling and Pascal getting back and Barnes surging and everything else. So this game didn't really surprise me that much. I mean, it was great to see, but there was nothing that really stood out that we haven't seen in recent.
Kyle, let me know what you thought.
Yeah, it was like a self-care game. Feels like all the guys are on the bench who needed good nights. Like Svi, Flynn was 6 for 8. Yeah. Utah wasn't playing poorly, but he got a lot of run-in tonight. He got 26 minutes. Champagny continues to play big minutes. It's like a little spa weekend. Same thing happened when we were in Sacramento. Pascal came back. He was struggling. Played the Kings. Got his mind right, and now let's hope it carries over.
Yeah, guys, listen to this. So, in this game, the Raptors had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players in double figures. And I feel like most games that the Raptors get very good bench production. They're either at the very minimum competitive. They usually win those games. But like Kyle said, this was a great game for guys like Utah, guys like Justin. Svi played very well. Malachi came in, and really just the second half, I don't believe, guys, he got first half minutes. I was kind of in and out of the game in the first half, but he played the majority, I want to say, of his time, if not all of it, in the second half. And he wasn't really missing. I think minus one possession where he kind of just over dribbled. He dribbled the air out of the ball for a bit and then ended up being a shot clock violation. minus that play, Malachi was almost perfect. And for him to come on in a game where maybe Nick might have not played him at all. I know a lot of people were speculating, like Oren mentioned, that the minutes were split in half between him and Delano Banton, and maybe this was already a decision that Nick Nurse made prior to the game, that no matter how Delano Banton performed in the first half, Malachi was going to get the second half. And people were thinking that maybe it was an even easier decision because the Raptors were up 20 to 30 points the majority of the second half. So obviously the Delano Banton news came out, and he apparently was not feeling well, which led to him not re-entering the game in the second half. But guys, like from what I saw from Justin, Utah, Delano, Svi, and Malachi, I'm kind of shocked we didn't see a little bit more Isaac Bonga. He only got 5 minutes in a game where the Raptors were up so much. But he only saw 5 minutes. But what I will say is the starters played really well. Siakam, if you guys remember, had his best game of the year versus Sacramento last month, I believe. I think it was in November. And this wasn't a game where you could really be mad at any Raptor. Like I'm very happy with the performance. The Kings are, like Oren said, they're not one of the worst teams in the league. So you can take some happiness out of this one, but I'm glad. I just want the Raptors to trade for Marvin Bagley now. I think I've seen enough from him. I want him to be our
we don't need another undersized big who can't really shoot and wants the ball in his hands all the time. We don't need it.
I love Marvin Bagley, man. I don't know. It's just the Duke fan in me again. Sorry, guys.
I want to throw this out here. Like, I've been advocating this for quite a while. Like, and I'm really glad to see it because I think like Barnes' personality is to be like deferential or like a catalyst, like a support. And with the four guys out on the bench, like he is awesome. And he has the green light to be the guy creating or just hogging the ball and directing his teammates around and stuff. So like, I think that's been a really great, I'm glad that Nurse has decided to go full in on that. And like for better or for worse, or like, it's just good to see Barnes kind of getting the reps as the go-to guy.
Yeah, and there was a time where this game was close. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a time earlier in the game where it was close, and they really leaned on Scotty to kind of take off there in the second quarter.
Yeah, but
absolutely.
I'll say this though, like I don't know how much it's Nurse and them, like doing something different for the first time. To me, it's more Scotty is finally being the aggressive person that they've wanted him to be all season.
True.
Like he is wired to be a playmaker and to not like do this. But you guys are right that from the like opening whistle tonight, he was just like really aggressive on both ends. You don't get 5 blocks without being really, really aggressive on that end of the floor. And obviously we saw that when the bench was out there, he was the one taking the shots. But like Blake had this tweet again, Barnes plus bench units were minus 11 entering tonight. And so tonight they went pretty highly plus. I don't know what the end of the game was, but like it's not like this has been a recipe for success all season. Like some people are like saying like, oh yeah, Barnes got to play with the bench, not Siakam. Like this hasn't been a recipe for success all season, but tonight it was. And I think a lot of that is on Barnes changing his approach.
I'm really, really happy. It's very tough in a game like this to really focus on one guy. Scotty Barnes played great. He was 6 for 10 in the first half, and I think he missed his last 4 shots in the second half, but it wasn't really just all offense for him. It was what he was doing on the defensive end as well as his playmaking. Pascal, now people are starting to see that playmaking Pascal, he's back. You just saw that one-handed bullet pass from the paint to the corner to Scotty Barnes. And then guys like Harrison Barnes were just struggling today, and that simply came off of guys like Scotty Barnes. Fred was doing great in this game. He was hitting shots when he needed to hit shots. But I think one starter that I'm probably most happy with, considering all the circumstances, is probably Chris Boucher. He was 7 for 10 tonight.
You have to say that, though.
Yeah, I know. I kind of have to at this point. It's like, yeah, you're right. He was +7, and I know that sounds good, but most Raptors were in the plus teens in this game. Justin was +19. I'm not gonna say his last name. I know I'm never gonna get it right, so I'm just gonna go with Justin.
Champagne.
Yeah. Delano
It's
Benton
literally at
+11.
basketballreference.com. It's Sham and Penny.
Champagne. Oh, that's
an
easy.
way to think about it.
Yeah.
It's like
Champagne.
for 4-year-olds. NBA pronunciations for 4-year-olds.
Yeah.
That should be a
Thanks, guys.
segment, guys. Make a graphic. Let's go.
Thanks, guys. Scotty Barnes and Gary Trent and Justin Champagne. There we go. We're all +19s. But Chris Boucher, I think he just came into this game. He shot 10 shots in 22 minutes. He made 7 of them. He was finally hitting the 3 ball in this game, which I was so happy about. He was active on the glass. Probably other than Utah, one of the more active Raptors on the glass. I know Siakam had 8 rebounds, but just the battling he was doing underneath, being an undersized big. Tristan Thompson's going to make you work, guys. Like, I don't care what people have to say about Tristan Thompson and his where he is in his career, him playing on the Kings at this point. He's one guy that is known and has been known his entire career for being a terror, especially on the offensive glass. So the Raptors had to do a good job of boxing out, grabbing defensive rebounds, and then what the Kings just couldn't handle was everything after the rebounds. It was the running. So I think this is besides the point, but guys, I think I'm officially out on De'Aaron Fox. I didn't like the body language today at all from him. For a guy that's supposed to be one of the better players on this team, I don't know. I watched him a couple years ago. I watched him last year, and I was thinking I was getting future All-Star vibes from him, but I don't know. I'm not getting that anymore from him.
Can I say one thing about Boucher because I do have thoughts on Fox too, but
Yeah.
clearly with Boucher, like, he's playing so much better when he's cutting and like finding that open space and shooting in rhythm. He still took a couple of stupid ass shots tonight, and it really frustrates me. It's like this paradox of like the more confident and successful he is, the more likely he's going to take one of those shots. But I still am a little bit frustrated on that end with him, but he has been playing much, much better.
Yeah, and I'm just going to defend Fox real quick. Like, the Kings have paid Buddy Hield. They then drafted Halliburton, who plays the same position, and drafted Davion Mitchell, who can't play at the same time as Halliburton and Fox. And all those 3 guys are ball dominant. They've taken it. I'm sorry, he's in the worst possible situation. I take Fox and the Raptors in a heartbeat.
He's also like, I still will never forget him sucking the soul out of Lonzo Ball when they played UCLA in March Madness. Like, Fox is known for this like killer instinct, and I think the Kings have just like bankrupted his will to live.
I will say Malik Monk had a 50-point game in that same game, so maybe we shouldn't take too much from that.
No, but he said he was going at Lonzo, and Lonzo like cratered.
Absolutely cratered. To give him some credit, I mean, he was 11 for 20, he finished with 29 points. So I'll give him that. It's just I don't like the body language we're supposed to see from guys who are supposed to be leading teams. Harrison Barnes obviously played absolutely awful for the Kings. Like, I thought it was bad until I looked at the box score and I was like, okay, this is really, really bad. He was 1 for 9, 3 points. He was awful. The Kings are not that great. I mean, they're a team that really just relies on confidence. And if they're making shots, they're going to play with you till the end. And if they aren't making shots, they will tend to give up faster than most teams. And that's usually what happens with younger teams. They also lost their coach, if I'm not mistaken. Luke Walton obviously isn't on the sideline anymore. Alvin Gentry is their interim head coach, so maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. Alvin Gentry teams aren't really known for their defense, so sure. I mean, I'll take it. Let's talk about the bench a little bit, guys. Sorry for that. Let's talk about the bench a little bit, guys. And this was, like I said, probably the key for the Raptors win tonight, the fact that there was no drop-off whatsoever for the bench. And here's a little bench update with Delano Banton. Delano Banton's probably the first guy I want to talk about, guys, because he didn't obviously play the second half, and the first half he looked incredible. I mean, I'm talking I think it was Blake tweet something like, we've seen Delano play in the G League, and this is probably his best performance to date, even including his G League performances, considering the circumstances, obviously, and the level of play. Delano's just good, man. And I don't know what the Kings were thinking putting like a 5'6" Davion Mitchell on him when Delano's that big. Like he was just working him all night, and then they tried Fox on him, and Fox is like on and off, I guess. I mean, he's an active defender, but like he reminded me a lot of Gary Trent Jr. last year. I loved what I saw from Delano Banton. His playmaking was incredible. 6 assists in the first half in limited minutes, getting easy shots like that one for Svi. Can we talk about Delano, guys, a little bit? Were you guys impressed with his performance? I'll ask you, Oren.
Yeah, I mean, I have some general bench thoughts before we get to specific players, though, because the Raptors bench, I was looking into some numbers today, and it's not even like, yeah, they've been bad, but it's like, wow, have they been bad? Like,
Yeah,
they are by far at the bottom of the league in scoring, 23.3 a game. I think the next team was 26. They're by far worst 3-point rate, shooting 26% from 3 on the season. The next team was like 29%. And they assist on the fewest buckets at 12%. And this game was like a completely different game in every single regard because they were actually moving the ball well. Like there was a few sequences they had where it was like pass, dunk, or pass, 3, right? Where like the ball was just moving so well. And that we just haven't seen from the bench before. It's been a lot more ISO and a lot of just really tough looks at the end of the shot clock. So I was shocked to see what the bench did. Like that came out of nowhere. They've been awful this year. Like, and we can make all the excuses in the world for them because of all these injuries, but like Utah, Malachi, Banton, Svi, Boucher, those are 5 guys you expect a lot more from. A lot of people expected this to be a deep team, and it just hasn't been.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see it tonight for sure, but like that has to continue going forward. It one night out of 27 now or whatever it is not enough.
It could be just as simple as hitting a couple of threes. Like once Utah opens that game up, or like Svi has been so bad from 3, and like you know, if a couple of those guys hit, and I know it's just like kind of cliche, but it just opens so much more up for them. And they haven't been able to really create anything because teams have just been crowding the paint on them and letting them shoot, and nothing's been going. It's also been nice to see Champagny get playing time. Like clearly, this team needs kind of like a little bit of or this bench needs a little bit of a wake up call that like just because you're not putting points out there is like doesn't mean any less of an effort. So yeah, I think it's
Kyle,
I do want to say if we can get into individual guys, like I want to give Svi some credit because it feels like Svi's always the guy who is who's like showing everything but his shooting, and then as his shooting has kind of failed him, he seems to be doing a little too much these last 3-4 games. He's trying to make a little too much happen with the ball. He's kind of ball watching on defense. If his shot starts hitting and he gets back into those those first 10 games of the season, Svi, where he was knocking down shots and like he was dunking, and every single Raptor fan on Twitter was just in awe of Svi's ability, like that's a valuable bench piece.
Yeah, I mean, Svi was brought in for really one reason. I mean, Nick probably believed that they could turn him into, an above average defender with his pretty good lateral ability. I mean, he's an athletic guy. He's very athletic. We've seen what he's done on the glass on some possessions. He can out jump most guys on the opposing team. But he was brought in for his shooting. That was what, Nick was looking for when Svi was on the team. And there are a lot of games. There have been a lot of games this season where Svi just hasn't been that guy for the Raptors. I mean, he's missed quite a bit of shots, so it's good to see him kind of back on form. A very streaky shooter. I mean, it's either games like this where he rarely misses, or he misses everything. There's very little in between with Svi, which I'm personally not too big of a fan of. I mean, consistency is a pretty big thing, especially if you're a bench performer. But he's also Svi. Like no one expected him to be a bench savior when he was signed. I'm sure the Toronto Raptors didn't either. They just expected good minutes when he was put out there. So. And remember, guys, compared to most, I think, Raptors bench players, he's been a guy that Nick has probably relied on more consistently, I want to say, than Delano or any other really bench player. Maybe Chris Boucher, but Chris Boucher's been benched mid-game Even as recent as this week, he was benched mid-game and just didn't come back, which I thought was wrong, by the way. But I mean, it's beyond me. It doesn't really matter. But Svi looked good. I'm very happy with his performance. I spoke about Delano already. I think personally, Malachi came in and was hitting shots that I was honestly shocked by. Like there were some shots in this game, guys, that I honestly didn't expect the Raptors to make. Like these are the same shots that sometimes they miss in other games. These ISO buckets that Malachi Flynn was hitting. The Svi, the pump fake and then shift to the right or the shift to the left and the threes. There was a lot of weird shots in this game that I was like, oh, okay. I guess just everything's going down today. So that was good for Toronto. Beyond that, who I will say is your favorite performer of the night? Let's just go one player by one player. Oren, I'll start with you. Who was your favorite performer? Maybe not the best performer of the night, but your guy where you were like, he needed this.
Yeah, good question. I mean, I don't know about he needed this. Award goes to the whole bench. They needed this. Like, I'm not even being a downer. It's just like it is what it is. The bench really needed this, especially on a back-to-back. But my guy of the game, who I was just kind of in awe of, was Siakam. I mean, I know Barnes was really good, and we kind of touched on him already. But Siakam, man, he had some finishes. Like, okay, I don't know if we'll get it on this reel, but he had a couple of finishes today where he was just like 360 spin move, complete balance, finishing it at the rim. Like that one right there, that exaggerated Euro step, finishing it with his left, like going downhill tonight. This is the best he's looked. That was a crazy finish. This was the best he's looked all season going downhill. And like I talked to the last game, that shot right there was the one. If we could rewind that, like he literally, you don't like, we underappreciate Siakam in this fan base, but like this guy just 360'd into a completely balanced floater and made the shot, and he's 6'9". Like it's crazy stuff that he's doing. And he was really good playmaker tonight, touching the paint. And yeah, I was saying like I was getting on him for falling in love with the mid-range last game against the Knicks when he went like 3 of 18 or something. And his outside shot wasn't going, and he just said, all right, I'm getting into the paint tonight. I'm going to the rim. And yeah, it is the Kings. It's a lot easier to do against them, but some of the finishes were just like special.
Yeah, it also helps that I think defender on the Kings can really check Siakam one-on-one. I think they realized that the last game. And then this game, there was a lot of collapsing. And Pascal's a guy that when you collapse, he's more often than not going to find the open guy. Aiden, what did you think about Pascal first? And then who was your kind of guy of the game?
Yeah, I agree with Trace. Like some of his passes were great too. He just looks to be more engaged with the team. Like he's trying to find the open guy when he gets stuck. And also defensively, like he seems more locked in. His intensity's higher. He's not complaining as much too. Like there doesn't seem to be, I remember just like getting mad at him for getting mad at something, and it's just like, dude, just focus on the frigging game and play. And he seems to be doing that more over the last, I'd say 2 or 3 weeks. And I think it's definitely confidence, but I don't know what it is. It's just like seeing Fred as a leader and seeing Barnes with this like endless engine. I think like Siakam's kind of realized like that he has to just remain like focused and locked in. And this was just another one of those games. Even if he was going, like New York where he wasn't shooting that well, I didn't feel like he wasn't putting in his most effort.
Yeah.
So I've loved seeing that of Siakam of late. And for me, I think like I'm going to go with the much needed one. And I think I'm going to go with Utah. Like he'd been troubleshooting. He'd had trouble shooting of late. And this was kind of like a breakout game for him. He had that step back. He was more involved in the playmaking, more so than we've seen of him. And I think that's like an important next step for him because he's going to be a big part of this bench, is like being that kind of like tertiary playmaker. And yeah, I think like his overall effort, he had 10 rebounds. Holy shit. Yeah. So yeah, like he just was kind of everywhere tonight. And I think like if we come into the playoffs, like Utah's going to be the 7th or 8th guy off the bench. And so it's good to see that he's growing and evolving.
Kyle, you're a player of the game, and who you thought needed this performance.
I just want to say, like, I agree with this. Like I hate that scream so much. Sometimes I think it's like a tick. Like I feel like maybe he does it without even thinking. Like, It's like,
I feel it's more an ah than an A. Like A is so Toronto. The A is like A.
It's
Like,
really.
I don't know if it's like that.
I don't mean to like be mean, but it really is like a braying. Like he's like he's like
Yeah, I will say just on Siakam real quick. When he came out, like when the Raptors first drafted him, he was like the motor guy. I'm sure I don't know exactly, but if you went back and watched some draft reaction, almost everyone would have talked about his motor and how hard he worked. That's probably why he gets so much stick from fans sometimes, is that they're used to, and he was touted as this guy who tries really hard all the time. And it's very frustrating for fans to see a guy like that not have the same level of energy, especially after they get paid. That being said, when you go to star status, when you become that number one guy, you don't have like you're not the motor anymore. You're like driving the car. You're no longer the motor. Someone else is the motor. And that's not really on Siakam anymore. So I like the body language, but I will say I never get too upset about him taking plays off and stuff because he works really hard.
He does. I agree with that.
But my guy is Gary. He had 4 assists tonight. I think he probably passed more than he probably deserved a couple more. And he's been a ball stopper in the past, if we're being honest. He finishes possessions by shooting, or there'll be a swing from a dribble penetration and the ball will stop with him. And I thought he had his head up tonight. And the Raptors are getting a ton of dribble penetration because the Kings basically couldn't get anyone guarded, and they were basically revolving doors. And so the next step off of that insane dribble penetration is like get some passing going off of that. And I thought Trent was really essential in that, not taking the first, B+ shot, working towards an A+ shot.
That last clip, especially, like that was really noticeable. He just like doesn't even hesitate, swings it to Yuta in the corner.
Yeah. Wow.
You know who didn't work hard tonight? The Kings.
Tristan Thompson worked hard.
Yeah, he did. But yeah, Alvin Gentry, not a fan of his team right now.
To be honest with you, I have no idea what to say. It was embarrassing.
They just looked completely disengaged.
Yeah,
I like how they left the starters on from the end of the game. It was kind of like a fuck you. It was like, you're so embarrassing. You're gonna have to go. Like it's like when you catch someone smoking a cigarette and you're like, hey, you're smoking the whole pack. It's like it's basically that. Like you're gonna finish this one to the end.
You know what, guys? Yeah. It's really weird. I was just scanning through the box score, and the reason, obviously, why I mentioned Chris Boucher as the guy who I felt needed this performance the most is obviously because of how he's been doing this year. He's been up and down, a lot of down more than up. So obviously you have to point it out when he does really well. So that was my guy. I'm going to have to agree with Oren and Aiden when I say Pascal Siakam is my player of the game. But I do think Scotty Barnes is a very close second. And I don't think you're wrong if you say Gary Trent Jr., like Kyle said as well, because he had a fantastic game, I think, as well. He didn't score obviously as much. He only had 10 points, but he played his role very well. He didn't really overshoot the ball when he needed to. He didn't shoot the Raptors out of it, which could have easily happened because there's points in this game where it felt like the Kings were making a run and then the Raptors would just shut it down really quickly. So, the funny stat, sorry, this was in my head and then it just left my head, but now it's back. The funny stat I was looking at was Alex Len finished this game, former Raptor, finished this game with 8 rebounds, and all 8 were offensive rebounds. And I felt awful for Chris Boucher when the game started because I was like, wow, like I know Len's not that great of a player, but like he's fucking double your size. So I felt bad for Chris Boucher in that sense. And he was working him honestly around the glass, but it's like, that's just something you have to sacrifice, I guess. But yeah, 8 offensive rebounds and he finished with 8 total rebounds. So
yeah,
shout out to Alex Len.
If we're gonna do our job as wrap up, like we got to look at some of the negative parts of this, and I like rebounding. Is our Achilles heel, recently and continues to be. They had 19 offensive rebounds to our 8. We also only shot 30% from 3, which is like below league average. So it's not like we were shooting much better. Fred had another kind of difficult game scoring wise. highlighting all
Yeah.
the negatives here, but that's it. But yeah, the rebounding was the big thing.
It was 19 offensive rebounds is a whole lot. The turnovers was probably what, kept the Raptors afloat for quite a while in terms of just holding on to that advantage. They only had 10 while the Kings finished the game with 17 turnovers. Although I will say that 10 points off of 10 turnovers is probably not where the Raptors want to be if we're nitpicking, but because the Kings did have 22 points off of the Raptors' 10 turnovers. So, I mean, it is what it is. Nothing to really go too crazy about, but
But the
rebounding
Raptors-
is an issue.
Raptors had 22 fast break points. So
Yeah.
that looked really good, I have to say. Their transition game today looked really, really good. Other than Svi, who is just god-awful in transition. He had one pass to someone who dunked the ball, and that was nice. I think Trent. Yeah, Trent. But other than that, Svi is god-awful in transition. I didn't mean to do that. But everyone else, great transition players, everyone else, and I thought this was one of their best games in transition, just as a team. Like, they moved the ball incredibly today. Like, again, the Raptors' assist percentage is at the bottom of the league, and today it just didn't look like it. I think, like, yes, it's the Kings, and we can chalk it up to that, but it feels like to me that every game they're just like learning each other a little more, and like this is kind of being the rotation now for at least like 6-7 games, and you're starting to see it. Like, and I think that's one of like the hallmarks of a well-coached team is just like these guys, their chemistry is coming along. You can see it. And yeah, there's going to be an adjustment when OG and Precious come back, like for sure. But in general, you're building off a base right now. And I like where the team is going in general.
Yeah.
How about, guys, we make some more history? If you guys remember during the OKC game, we mentioned the first ever non-Raptors tax man of the night. It ended up being Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. How about we do the tax men of the night and give it to the entire bench?
What about women? You don't like to give it to women?
I mean,
I'm joking.
But yeah, don't put me on the spot like that.
We can get on that later, though. Like, would this not have been a good night for the female broadcast on TSN?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
what's going on there? What does Kia have to do? Is she busy?
No, but she killed it though in the role that she was in. I actually like real quick loved the broadcast tonight. I thought Paul Jones was great doing play-by-play, and Leo's pretty good.
Leo's so bad.
Okay, I didn't want to go there, but
I wasn't gonna say because I felt like Aiden was gonna say it, but I was just like, go ahead, Aiden.
But Nikki and Kia were really good.
So good.
Paul was really good. I was just, I feel like changing up the broadcast more could be a good thing.
100%. Kia should have Alvin's job right now.
Kia's damn good. Like, for a person who I don't think before she started all this TSN stuff, she had broadcast experience. I don't know, guys. You might have to correct me on it, but I just think she was the best by far on the entire
amazing.
Broadcast.
Also have written down Leo called Gary Trent Jr. Gary Forbes.
Yeah, but Leo went to Oakwood, so I can't slander him too bad.
Like, dude, you've watched this team for like 80 games a year for the last 10 years, and you can't even call one of our guys on our team the right name.
Can I just say quickly, like, this has been a very positive night. I want to get negative. What is with the Toronto? No, what is with the Toronto streaming options? Like, the TSN online app sucks. Sportsnet now sucks and includes the worst commercials I've ever seen. Like, it's impossible to stream games online. I pay for that service. What's going on? I'm paying, and half the time it doesn't even work. Basketball would be the number one sport in this country if it just worked.
Let's not talk about TV oligarchies in Canada. I could go
How do you guys feel about that Sportsnet guy that does all their ads? The middle-aged man who's like, does all their TV ads.
I'm not getting myself in trouble.
But man, generally, like the local broadcasts in general, I think need a whole revolution. Like, overthrow the white man. There's like 70-year-old dudes that are just like so out to lunch.
Yeah, but they've done the revolution slowly. Like, they added Alvin and they added Amy this year. Sportsnet did.
It's not even the broadcasters, just like the quality of the streaming. Clients.
You're right.
Oh yeah,
terrible.
Yeah.
I have Ignite, which works well.
So do I.
Yeah, but that's not on there.
It lags sometimes too, though.
Yeah, once in a while.
Are we doing another Ed Rogers slander episode? Because I'm down for that, to be honest.
I don't even know what's of recent with him.
Anyways,
Are
yeah,
are you guys okay with? Are you guys okay with me doing the tax men of the night?
Yeah,
Are you guys
yeah,
okay with
please.
that? Is everyone on board? Okay,
Yeah.
that's perfect. So obviously, we're gonna give it to the entire bench that consisted of obviously Chris Boucher wasn't on the bench this game. He started, so sorry, Chris Boucher. But the tax men of the night include Yuta Watanabe, Justin Champagny. Did I get that, Aiden? Thank you. Malachi Flynn, Delano Banton, Svi Mykhailiuk, and let's throw in Isaac Bonga. Fuck it for the vibes.
Get that man some more minutes.
Yeah.
Who? Bonga?
Can-Am.
Yeah, Bing Bonga.
I like that. Wow, that was quick. Can-Am CPA, guys, is a full-service small business and accounting and tax firm with an experienced and friendly staff that can help you navigate a triangle offense better than. No
one's running triangle anymore.
Can I do a remix? Can-Am also provides personal tax preparation and can recover the refunds that you are entitled to. So don't leave your money on the table. If you have questions about your personal taxes, any questions at all, Can-Am would be happy to help the Raptors community and the Wrap Up family. So check out their Google reviews and visit Can-Am at www.canamtax.com. It is on the screen. Can-Am Tax. Honestly, guys, if eventually you're going to have to start filing your taxes. And hey, guys, if Can-Am Tax is it, we're all on Can-Am Tax. I don't know if you guys know that yet, but that is our guy. He's at the top of the screen as well. I honestly didn't even notice that.
I've been on Can-Am for years. Since I was 18, I've been on Can-Am.
I've been on Can-Am since I was 12. So now what?
Since you were a slave labor child because you can't work at 12. So,
yeah. Can-Am, man. Can-Am.
They kept it under the table since I was 12.
That's how good they are.
Why are you exposing me? Can we not do this to Can-Am right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go to film. Film.
Yeah, let's do some film.
Yeah, let's do some film.
Let's do some film. Zarar, I can see, is in the comments. He's having a ball right now.
Okay.
Under the Arsenal list. Who's first up?
Synonym.
Zarar's calling out Giles under the table of a profession.
This isn't me, by the way. I don't know who has this clip.
This was great. I think this was me. So this was obviously the offensive rebound by Pascal. This is what I was talking about by the Kings the entire game. This was just a lack of effort. Trent Jr. misses a shot, and they all just go diving at it. It's like a half dive where you're acting as if you're trying, but you're really not. Pascal ends up with it. He starts from the 3-point line and finishes with the layup. And this is just what I wanted to detail with Pascal. Like, he could have easily just reset it, gave it out to Svi, but he's like, you know what? These guys haven't stopped me in the paint all game. I don't care if Alex Len is in there. I'm going to grab this offensive rebound, and I'm attacking. And that's what he did.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about with Pascal. Like, that kind of effort is, it's nice to see.
It is very nice to see. It's incredible. I mean, it started with Tyrese Halliburton probably just not getting his paws on it, and then Pascal's like, oh, that was almost a double dribble, too.
That was a carry for sure.
Yeah, it had to be one of the two. But yeah, it's great to see, man. For a team that really has struggled rebounding at times this season, to really see this type of effort is great. I just wanted to quickly detail that. And then obviously, what's funny? I feel like if Pascal missed that layup, I feel like the Raptors still would have got the offensive rebound because you see Justin coming in, Svi coming in. Yeah, it was just a tale of effort in this game. And I think the Raptors had that, and they played a very clean game as well. So just wanted to point that out.
Love it.
The next one.
This is mine. This is fun basketball.
Wow.
There's two give and goes there, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Gary's passing. This is great.
I know. I wrote down when this happened. Gary's a good passer when he looks to pass.
Yeah, he just has to keep his his eyes away from the rim for a moment.
Yeah, which is kind of like saying my friend is good at school when he likes to do homework.
When he shows
up.
What
I mean? Yeah, it's but part of the smartness is in doing the homework.
Yeah.
So he that is a skill that he has to learn just to keep his head up and not always to score. But yeah, when he does it, I do see upside there.
It highlights Barnes just as a spoke or a hub in a wheel. Like he's just like you put him in the middle of the court and he's just gonna do the right thing at the right time, and so unselfishly. Like it just shows. And yeah, I know it's just a very fun play.
You know what I think made this play happen though, Aiden? If you remember, I think it was the possession right before it or the possession before that. Gary Trent Jr., I think they ran a similar play and he hit the mid-range shot. And I think the Kings focusing on that and knowing that Gary is able to hit that shot, like you see, I believe that's Tristan Thompson steps all the way up. Is that Tristan Thompson?
No, I think
Harrison, or is it Harrison
Barnes?
Barnes?
That's Barnes.
That's Barnes. Harrison Barnes. He steps all the way up, and then he steps up there again, and then at that point they double, and then Len just obviously rotates too late. His feet are just stuck in quicksand.
Well, he has the Boucher on the perimeter. Boucher does a good job of moving because old Boucher would have just like waved for a while and gotten mad that he didn't get the ball, and he cuts, and so that kind of distracts Len, which helps.
I didn't catch that. That's a good point.
But it's true that like Trent being a good shooter frees up these passing lanes.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah,
totally.
It has an advantage.
This next one should be me, Chris. We can get it up. And this is another one where it's like, yeah, my friend's a good driver, when he tries. It's like, but again, part of being a good driver is trying all the time. This is a shot that was probably open, and this is a shot that Gary probably takes normally, and he passes out of it. And that's like, it didn't end up in a bucket, but that's a big step for him because that's a wide open three, or by Gary standards, a wide open three.
But it's probably the pass Nurse doesn't want.
Yeah,
like he's pretty open there. He should be shooting that.
Well, but Barnes is closing out. I mean, I don't know if he's like, it's not a layup by any standards.
Right. He could have passed. There's one more pass that probably could have been made as well. If you guys look, Fred VanVleet is on the elbow, kind of just waiting, and De'Aaron Fox is just slowly sagging off. And
Jesus, it's like John Wall movement.
Fox is like sleeping.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah,
but I don't mind. I don't mind Barnes taking an open three.
No,
I don't mind it either.
Yeah,
it's just that was just bad.
It was off.
The result was awful, but I mean, it happens.
Yeah,
it happens. What's the next play, Chris?
Yeah, this is me. This was just like we talked about. Everyone was surprised when Flynn came in the game instead of Banton, but like this is his first possession, I believe, of the game, and like, not just like the tap out. Just watch. He breaks up this like 3-on-1. Does extremely well to recover, contest the shot. They give up the offensive rebound. That's on Champagny, and then he gets this tap out. So it's at least like if you're gonna come in the game, you bring the energy. That's how we started, and then he went on to hit like shot after shot. So huge game, I think, for Flynn because they need him right now. They need his scoring off the bench, and it is just a confidence booster, I think.
I feel awful for the Kings because if there's one guy that you'd probably expect to hit that second chance shot, it's probably Buddy Hield. One of the best standstill shooters in the league, I think. We can all agree on that. And when he shot that, I was like, okay, it's going down. Chalk it up. All right, let's start the next play. But he seemed like he couldn't even get it going either. Just looking at the perspective from the other side. Good pass, by the way, from Tristan Thompson. Hey, Tristan Thompson.
He had a good game.
Expect that. Yeah, really good game.
He made me want to trade for him.
He did the Steph thing though. he look at him celebrate this three prematurely though. He did the Steph thing, and you can't do that with Buddy Hield.
Not on this one, right? Yeah, it had to be the Buddy one.
Watch, on the Buddy one. Like,
come on, Tristan.
But I mean, like he is a doofus, and I know like on Boston last year there was a lot of problems with him, but he can be a professional, and like we need, we've been talking about that third string center, like. There is a place for him on a team like ours that kind of needs that veteran big.
Absolutely. He's the biggest professional on the Kings. We saw it today. He's the one guy that brought energy and effort and focus. Like he embarrassed their starters. But like a third string big, he would be nice for us just to play when those guys are injured. But if it's gonna take like actual stuff to get him, I'd rather like a buyout third string big if that's the case. Maybe he'll get bought out actually.
Honestly, doing the Steph celebration down 23.
Yeah, you can't
like a really good.
That's professional.
It's funny. Like that's really hilarious.
That's profession.
He had that dunk after the whistle too when we were up like 25. He's like, ha!
The one where he got rim stuffed twice?
Him and
No.
Is that the one you're? Oh, okay.
Bagley got mad at him too because he took one of Bagley's rebounds, and Bagley was like, ah. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Hey guys, no, yeah, never mind.
Yeah, we're not going to go into Tristan's personal life, so we're not going to address the comments about his personal life. Tristan is he's a Canadian basketball player we're all proud of. Do we have any more plays, Chris? What else do we have?
That's it.
Do you guys want to switch it up and give the ball to the commenters?
Yeah,
Questions
sure.
for the
Start a
crowd.
little question time. Let's go through some of these. So we might already have
We're
some
not
questions,
answering
so
the
I'm just
first
gonna-
question.
Yeah, we're definitely not doing that. Let's see what we got. It's just a lot of really comments, a lot of Siakam comments.
Come on, peeps, throw us some questions.
We got some bench comments, some Utah. There's always Utah love in the comments.
I saw. Oh no, we can do this one. I saw one earlier. We do this one. How depressing would it be to play for Sacramento? Very.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything to add.
Yeah, I pointed out in our group chat that when the Knicks were awful for so long, essentially after Carmelo Anthony left up until last season, that the thing that their fans had to kind of rely on was just them being a New York City sports team, which is, I think, good enough. I mean, New York City is New York City, and the Knicks represent New York City. And I think for the Kings, it's like their franchise is awful. They've been awful for the last 10 plus years, and you're in Sacramento, so there isn't much to lean on. So
let's
I don't
do.
know.
Do you guys have thoughts on this one?
What adjustments do you see for the Brooklyn game?
More
to be quite honest, I think this is going to be a big game for if he's healthy. I'm not really following the Nets as much right now, but I am kind of worried about LaMarcus Aldridge because he has been starting recently for the Nets, and obviously different rounds media-wise about him taking a step back in his role. And I think this is the type of game that LaMarcus Aldridge, not known for his rebounding, but man, like if the Raptors thought they had a size problem with Alex Len in the first 7 or 8 minutes of this game, LaMarcus Aldridge is going to be a whole different issue. We haven't even really talked about probably the best scorer to ever live in Kevin Durant, but yeah, I
was going to make a bold
Nets,
prediction.
Yeah,
that the Raptors are going to win against the Nets. That's my bold prediction.
And why?
KD scares me for sure, but why is because Brooklyn is not a home court advantage. That arena sucks, so it's no different.
Okay.
B, I just think like I've seen really good focus from the Raptors these last kind of 2 games. Like they haven't been perfect by any means, but just feels like that Oklahoma City loss they took personally as they should have, and they've bounced back with 2 wins, and like they just look more professional as a team, and like I like the way they're trending. I don't know. I just want to be optimistic and say they're going to beat the Nets. I mean, the Nets aren't like this unbeatable team or anything. Paul Millsap's like out.
They're good though.
They're good. But I don't think
Paul.
they're a terrible matchup for us. Like, yeah, Aldridge fine, but like it's not like they're a team with like an elite rebounding center. And we have a couple guys who you can throw on KD and Scotty and Siakam. And I'm optimistic. And if the bench plays like that, then we're cooking.
Does it worry you that Kevin Durant's coming off a 51-point game? Or
I mean, yeah, like I have him in fantasy, so I'm happy for Kevin to score 45. But even like his team has to score with him, right?
That's what I was gonna say. I'm happy with a little bit of a box and one here. Maybe start Yuta instead of Boucher and just put him have him face guard Kevin full court. And then take him out and put Champagne in and just run him all night.
Okay, and then
that's the
you're doing Scotty or Pascal on Aldridge?
Yeah. Well, you're doing a box, so you're kind of just zoning.
Yeah, just in the zone. Yeah.
Make Patty Mills beat you from 3. You know. Yeah. Hey.
So the Kings held the players. The Kings held a players-only meeting tonight in Toronto after we got their coach fired last time we played them. Pretty hilarious stuff.
Yeah.
I love that for us. I really do.
Man, I genuinely feel sorry for Kings fans.
I've never felt bad for the Kings in my life, and I'm not going to start
Really?
now. Yeah, I just it's it is what it is. Do better. Draft Luka. I don't know what to tell you.
You know what sucks about that team? It's the fact that they're always in like the 4 to 8 range of drafting, and then the 1 year they were supposed to get that franchise-changing guy, in came Marvin Bagley rather than Luka Doncic. So
I
that's why it
hate the
just hurts
Kings.
them, you know?
I hate them because even this year, what is going on? You have fucking 5 guards on your team. It's like
6 centers.
they don't think at all. Like they have these 4 really good dynamic guards, but they can only play 2 of them together in when you want to actually maximize people's capabilities. It's just like, what are we doing here?
They just buy centers and then buy out the centers.
Yeah, and all those picks have been individually good picks, right? Like I can't complain about the last 2 lottery picks they have. They've been good players, but they don't fit together with the pieces they already have, and they haven't made any trades. So it's just like you're not helping these guys' developments at all.
It's very weird that team. It feels like they either have a point guard or they have a center. Like I'm looking at their team, and other than Harrison Barnes, like there's no real wing players. There's no small forwards. I mean, Tristan Thompson center, Damian Jones center, Marvin Bagley essentially a center, Alex Len center, Metu basically a center, and then you have Heel, Davis, Halliburton, Fox, Mitchell. Goodness gracious, Mo Harkless, DNP.
Barnes should be a 4. They should be running like Holmes at the 5. I mean, they didn't have Holmes tonight, which is a big piece, but they should be Holmes at the 5, Barnes the 4, those 3 guards, and then just run up and down and see what the hell is happening. Instead, they have, like you said, Metu and Len starting. Like, what the hell is that? That's horrible.
Somebody
that's
check
like
me.
That's like G League.
Somebody check me now.
Or lacks empathy.
The Kings are like trying to zag and do like everyone wants these athletic wings. The Kings are like, what if we just got like 5 good guards and some bigs that can't move? Whatever.
Some bigs who cannot move whatsoever. Andrew asks, if this was 2K and you could make a player work on a single stat, who would you choose and what would they work on? Wow, that's a very specific question, but it's a question I like, to be honest.
I liked it, but I don't know how to answer it.
I'm assuming he means Raptor. We just came off talking about the Kings.
That's a great question.
Honestly, I would
Delano a jump shot.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd give Siakam a 3-point shot, and we're cooking.
Yeah, Scotty as well. I mean, his 3-point shots on and off, but yeah, I mean, if you give Delano a shot, we're talking about a real
awareness.
I'd say, I actually would say for that, like, I'd say Siakam's playmaking's at like a 72 right now. And like if I could boost that up to an 82, 85, I would do that. Because I really do think Siakam's like score first, and I understand why, but if I were gonna, I feel like he's at the precipice of blossoming into like a next level type player, and the playmaking is where it's at. And I'd increase his weight by 15 pounds.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you just want to become the perfect player. You just say you want LeBron. Just say you want Miami LeBron. Is that what you want?
I was going to say, well,
so close to Miami LeBron.
Flynn, the Michael Jordan dunk package.
That's a great question. That's a very I'm not a big fan of NBA 2K, or at least the games that have came out recently, but yeah, that was a good question. I like that. Delano, you give Delano a shot, and guys, I don't know, we might have one of the better bench players in the league. I'm not even exaggerating.
Oh, for sure. Agree with that.
Let's see, what else do we got?
Bench lineup.
Abby A asks us, was the Scotty and bench lineup in the second quarter evidence that Scotty should move to the bench once we're healthy? I love this question.
No, I say no. I'm taking a hard
Very
no.
insightful, Abby. Very insightful.
Is it? I disagree. You can play starters with the bench. No disrespect to Abby, but you can play starters with the bench, as we saw today. Like I was saying in the past that Scotty maybe should go to the bench, but he's been too good. I can't do it. He's been too good. Like at a certain point, you got to reward just positive improvement.
But it's not a demerit by not starting him.
But it is. We know this. You know what I mean? Like in the eyes of NBA players and around the league,
Barnes
it
is
is
not-
seen as a demerit.
Barnes is not just any old NBA player. Like I think he he came off the bench Florida State. I think he understands like that his like leveraging him with the bench is like the best way to utilize him because we're crowded at where we're top heavy.
Especially when OG comes back, Oren. I don't know, man. Like,
No, I can't.
yes, I don't know. Like Scotty, for me, he's been so good on a lot of nights. He's been the Raptors' best player, and it's tough because Oren does have a point. You have to reward the players who play best, but I don't know. Like, what are the options? I mean, you could start him and you could throw OG or whoever to the 2.
Couldn't we say the same thing about Trent though? He's also been playing a lot with the bench, and he's also looked really good as a primary scorer with the bench. And he's a worse player, generally speaking. You know what I mean? Like generally, I'd rather have my better players starting. And overall, Trent's a worse two-way player. So doesn't that same rule kind of apply to Trent? And then like, I'm even like, I'd rather the centers be on the bench, you know, like at this point, I just want Scotty to start. I don't really
The
care.
shot creation would be nice. The shot creation would definitely be nice with Gary Trent Jr. off the bench.
Scoring, like, oh my God, they can't score.
But when you have very good playmaking off the bench, mixed in with a couple starters.
We saw today that Scotty can still play with the bench as a starter, you know?
Yeah.
That's a good point. Energy is pretty big, I think, in those starting lineups. They've had some pretty good third quarter starts, and I feel like a lot of that's him. Yeah, I'm not saying.
I mean, he's going to close out games. I'm just saying to start. I think like it gives us a little bit more balance. Gary off the bench is no bueno. I don't think.
I've been thinking about. I just think you got to do everything possible to maximize Scotty's development, and starting him means more minutes. Realistically, and more minutes is something to help him develop, because this year doesn't matter at the end of the day. And Scotty, like I keep finding myself feeling crazy telling my friends who aren't like watching every single Raptors game, I'm so unreasonably high on this guy. Like he could be an all-time great. That's really his ceiling. Like Scotty is doing ridiculous things in his first year. And so I just can't get there anymore where I would say like maybe it'll help the Raptors this season a little bit more if he's on the bench. I just want to do anything to help his long-term growth.
If Scotty ever reaches the point, I think, where he becomes a good NBA 3-point shooter in the NBA, I think, Lord, like we're looking at it, and then a guy with his IQ just increasing year after year after year, almost everything else checks off. We've seen flashes of an elite defender. We've seen flashes of elite playmaking at his size, flashes of incredible shot making at the rim. Yeah, I'm with you, Oren. I think the ceiling is HOF. I don't want to, knock on wood.
Is the roof.
Yeah, the ceiling is the roof.
Ceiling is the roof. And also I'll say about Scotty, and this is something Lewis says quite a bit, is like he's a glue guy. So when he's with the starters, he just helps move the ball and get guys in good positions.
Yeah.
And I fear that if it's Trent and then a center, it's a little more ISO ball, and it's just like less it's more turn taking than a natural progression.
Yeah, I just think with our personnel, then you have Precious, Boucher, and Birch off the bench. Like that's pretty ugly.
But Boucher is gone by the death.
There is luxury in having OG coming back from injury. Like that buys us probably 10 games. But
I wouldn't. Sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna say I wouldn't worry about like having to fit all those guys in the lineup. Like Chris Boucher can sit on the bench over having Scotty play with the bench. I don't think you need to force Boucher minutes over. Prioritize Boucher's minutes over Scotty's development and the team's success. Even Chris wouldn't say that. No comment.
Not so sure about that.
Does Chris like Boucher?
Chris
is Boucher, isn't he?
Chris, why don't you talk? Why don't you defend
got him.
Boucher?
Got him, Hayden. You really got
producer
him.
Chris. I thought you were talking about Boucher himself.
Oh,
No, I was. I'm on the
Oh,
same basis with
I
him.
thought you
Kyle
were talking about
prefers him in the
producer Chris.
first name.
Shout out to producer.
Kyle just wanted to
Chris.
flame
Yeah.
the producer just a little
You know,
bit.
like
which you
the
guys just
greats, Jordan, LeBron, or Michael Jordan, LeBron.
Chris.
You're on the first name basis, Chris.
Chris. Yeah.
There we go.
La Trebuchet.
Do we have any more? This was a funny question. We do remember it. I remember it at least. I didn't make the Raptors Republic draft party, and I know a lot of people were there, but that infamous video that goes around whenever we see a Scotty Barnes highlight of people just going, "Oh no, we drafted Scotty."
And Zarar just instigating, just walking
Yeah.
around.
He's
Scotty Barnes.
He just has the phone in everyone's face.
I don't know. I showed up on your pod celebrating the pick, so I'm Gucci.
It's
point.
true. It's true. I've deleted everything, so I'm Gucci too. You guys know I'm a quick deleter. I'm like that.
This guy deleted all the evidence. I think that's a good time to wrap up. We are at the 1 hour mark, and before you guys all leave us tonight, we need you to obviously like, comment, and subscribe to the Raptors Republic channel. Turn on the post notifications if you haven't already. This was the Wrap Up Live, your Raptors Republic post-game live show, where your Raptors defeated the Sacramento Kings 124-101, bringing their record to 13-14 on the season. Chris, I don't know if you have time, but can we bring up the schedule really quick to see what the Raptors have next? People have already mentioned Brooklyn.
And then
Bulls are canceled.
Yeah. Oh, the schedule's updated. Ooh,
Thank
two
you
good
very
games
much.
in a row.
There it is. Thank you very much to our producer who we keep mentioning, Chris Howson-Jan. He is incredible. He does all the behind-the-scenes work for us. But yeah, guys, we got Brooklyn up next.
Oh,
KD.
Steph's 1 away from the record, so he's going to get it in MSG probably.
Is he really?
I think that's tomorrow too. Oh, I'm not watching the Raptors. Yeah, tomorrow the Warriors play the Knicks in MSG at 7:30, same time as the Raptors game. And Steph's going to break the record.
And
so
the NBA
we're going to wrap up the Steph three-pointer tomorrow. We'll wrap it up here.
NBA's really got to figure out their scheduling.
Yeah.
5 games also, all at the same time. It's just horrible. Anyway, sorry.
The Bulls game also got postponed for any Raptors fans who haven't noticed. And I'm pretty sure that was a home game, if I'm not mistaken, at Scotiabank Arena. Oren, do you want to tell everybody why the Bulls game got postponed, or because I didn't know, honestly?
10 players in COVID protocols on the Bulls, so they said 9 will let it go, but 10 is probably over the limit for the NBA.
10 is just a little too much. Former 905er Alize Johnson was the last one who was put into protocol.
Matt Thomas is out there. DeMar is out there. They're having like a Toronto reunion in the COVID bubble.
Stanley Johnson?
Yeah.
I think he's playing now.
Alize and Stanley, yeah. No, he's also in COVID. Stanley Johnson was the COVID replacement player that they're allowed to go over 17 because of COVID. And then he got COVID the same day he got called up. Terrible. Or he didn't get it, but he's in protocols for it.
He's in protocols.
Yeah, pretty bad. The NBA is kind of in a messy situation right now. Toronto, they've gotten so lucky because all these broadcasters and management people are all out with protocols, but only Precious is out player-wise. And if they had any players in it, we'd be screwed.
Awful.
That process really confuses me. How is it possible Precious is in protocols and nobody else gets tagged? Like
it is, right? Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, does the team not like Precious? No one comes, talks to him, adapts.
I'm just picturing him like in the locker.
Come on, Kyle.
No, I was thinking
like after
no
one else does.
I was thinking like after the game he had contact with someone and then they didn't see him until he got tested and then he was told not to come back. Right. That's what I was assuming.
What's his Obi Toppin had COVID and was like talking to Scotty after the game, walking off the court. That was nothing.
Yeah,
something's up. There's some weird reporting issues for sure.
I'm just picturing like a Tinder date gone wrong with Precious.
That's a perfect time to end it. That was it for myself.
I'm not picturing Precious on a date.
We only name drop Bumble on this podcast. Come on, Aiden, you knew that.
Look at us trying to get sponsorships. That was it for Oren Weisfeld as well. Aiden Moss, Kyle Brickman. We'll see you guys all tomorrow night versus the Brooklyn Nets. Hopefully, Kevin Durant doesn't drop a 50 burger. Bye, guys.